Welcome to the first episode. In this episode, I am going to teach you one of the most basic features of the Japanese accent, namely, the insertion of vowels after and between consonants. You know how we add random vowels between consonants? That's what I am going to teach you in this episode. Holy crap, am I excited? Before we start, I need to make sure that you are familiar with the syllabic structure in Japanese. Click the suggestion above to watch the video I made about what a syllable is. As you should already know, Japanese has the CV sound pattern with some exceptions. This means that whenever a word from another language enters the Japanese language, or whenever monolingual native Japanese speakers try to pronounce a foreign word, they automatically convert the input in the foreign language into an output that fits this CV pattern. This implies that if the foreign input contains a syllable that ends in a non-nasal consonant, as in cat, or if a syllable contains a cluster of consonants, as in straight, the Japanese speakers will divide that syllable into two or more syllables, and then they will add a vowel after each consonant in each of these newly formed syllables, so the final output will follow the CV pattern. Let's examine this process in detail by looking at some examples. The word cat ends in a non-nasal consonant, namely T. The Japanese language doesn't like a consonant at the end of a syllable, so this T has to become separated from C and A and form its own syllable. However, the Japanese language also doesn't want a syllable that contains only a consonant, so a vowel has to be added after T. Now, there are 5 vowels to choose from. T usually selects O. Combined, we end up with to. So, cat becomes katto in Japanese. How about the word straight? This English word contains a consonant cluster which consists of 3 consonants, which are S, T, and R. Japanese cannot usually have more than one consonant in succession, and each of these 3 consonants has to form its own syllable and be followed by a vowel. R already has a vowel after it. S and T still need vowels after them. S tends to be followed by U, so S plus U becomes S. T again tends to be followed by O, so T plus O becomes To. Also, the word straight ends in a consonant, namely T, so this final T also has to be followed by O and becomes To. Together, the whole word becomes storeto. Now that we know the mechanism behind the insertion of vowels, let's see what consonants each of the 5 vowels in Japanese tends to follow. Keep in mind, however, as is always the case with languages, there are bound to be many exceptions. A does not play a big role, especially when it comes to loan words from English. However, A can be inserted into some non-English words. For example, the word mach in German ends in a consonant, and this consonant doesn't exist in Japanese, so it is pronounced as H, and it is followed by A, as in maha. The next vowel, E, is also not a popular option. E tends to follow the CH sound, as in catch, which becomes catchy, as well as the J or DG sound, as in judge, which becomes judgy. Also, E may follow the K sound, as in deck, which becomes dekki. Another common example is keiki, which comes from the English word cake, as well as steiki, which comes from steak. However, K is more likely to be followed by U in most cases, so dekki, keiki, and suteiki should be considered exceptions. Before we move on to U, it would make sense to do E and O because U is the most versatile vowel that can be inserted after most consonants. On the other hand, E is hardly ever used. In fact, I cannot even think of one example that inserts E after consonants. Let me know if you have found any. Next, O is quite limited as to what it can follow. Basically, it only appears after T and D. Here are a few examples. The word trouble contains a consonant cluster at the beginning, consisting of T and R. R is already followed by a vowel. T, on the other hand, has to form its own syllable and selects O and becomes To. The whole word becomes toraburu. Finally, U, in contrast to the rest of the vowels, shows up everywhere. It is, in fact, quicker to remember which consonants are not followed by U. Basically, all the consonants that I haven't mentioned select U. Here are some challenges for you. How would you say the following words if you had a Japanese accent? Type your answers using katakana in the comment section. 1. Extraordinary. 2. Angst. 3. Spring. 4. 2/5. And 5. Bottled. This is the end of this video. Check out my other videos and see you next time.